What's up, guys? In this Eating Dubs fantasy sports video, I'm going to be looking at the Colts versus Bills matchup in Week 11 of the NFL season. So, quickly looking at the game, we can already see that Buffalo is a 7-point favorite with a 49.5 point over under. Um, it's pretty much what you expect. It's a home game for Buffalo. They've been one of the better defensive teams in the league this season. Their offense is not far behind that. Um, Most stacked team from top to bottom, in my opinion. And yeah, the Colts have been kind of wavering. Wentz has been pretty detrimental late game with some turnovers, and the Colts currently sit at 5-5, trying to scratch and claw to make their way back into the playoffs. Um, I think just from a general takeaway from the game, I think the Colts can pull off the upset here, and I'll tell you exactly why I believe that. Looking at the Bills' schedule, so they have one impressive win, in my opinion, on their schedule. Well, two, if you think the Chiefs didn't deserve to. Let me explain. So they've played the Lions, they've played the Bears, they stomped on the Packers, so I think that was their best win of the season, 19-0. Um, they kind of beat up on a lot of shitty teams other than that. They lost to the Steelers, they lost to the Texans. This Jaguars loss was pretty bad for them. They got their dicks kicked by the Jags. They went and then beat up on the Jets the very next week, but that's to be expected. I think most fraternity intramural teams can beat up on the Jets. And yeah, that game versus the Chiefs, the reason I don't put a lot of weight on that is just because I think the Chiefs were wavering at that time. They were not playing very well. They weren't very confident. Patrick Mahomes was dealing with some domestic issues with his piece of shit younger brother, Jackson Mahomes, just being a complete, yeah. So, Bills, I think they can be beat. I think the recipe for success here for the Colts is really just to establish the run, as you guys know. Colts are one of the better run teams in the league in terms of not only the talent of Jonathan Taylor, their running back, and not Naeem Hines, probably one of the better third down backs on top of it, but their O line is obviously very strong. So having a quick look at the lineups quickly, um, we quickly see that Diggs is going to be started. I mean, you're going to start Diggs. Too much draft capital unless you've got like some combination of Adams, Tyreek, Debo, something like that. You're starting Diggs. You're going to start Josh Allen. Beasley is a PPR flex play, I would say. Um, Moss and Singletary as well. Moss, I would put him as like an RB. I mean, RB3 is a little generous. I think the Buffalo running game is something that I would never feel confident starting, especially considering the fact that the Colts actually have a solid run stopping defense in terms of the personnel they have. I know from their production they haven't been that great this season, but DeForest Buckner, Leonard, those guys can clog up some lanes and really disrupt some run game, and that's not how the Bills beat people anyway. So just if you have to stay away, or if you have to, you can play Moss and Singletary. I would stay away if I were you. Um, because of how ridiculous this fantasy season has been, I fully expect the opposite to happen. I expect Moss to run for two tutties or Sanders to pop off because he's been pretty lackluster, pretty stagnant the past couple of weeks after his like explosion at the beginning of the season. So moving on over now to the Colts. You guys know it. I mean, the safeties for Bills allow so much pressure to be put from the likes of White, Wallace. I mean, White's a great corner, as we know. He hasn't had the best season as well, but when you have across the board highly rated defensive players, you can make risks, or you can take risks, you can get tighter to your defenders, and that's what leads me to have a little bit of skepticism or a little bit of fear of Michael Pittman. He's been great this season, one of the top wide receivers in terms of yardage, in terms of I don't know where he sits at on touchdowns, but he's been great, and especially kind of the last 6 or 7 weeks. You're sitting Pascal, you're sitting Baby Hands Doyle. I would not want to play Hilton. It's Jonathan Taylor, Mo Alley Cox. Don't start him. I don't have a lot of expectations that the Colts offense is going to be very productive this week. I think it's going to be a Jonathan Taylor game. If anything is going to happen, it's going to be a Taylor and Pittman game. And Wentz is going to have to try to keep the Bills' passing defense honest so they don't just come clog up the lanes and make it tougher for Taylor. And I think that is a tough ask, but if Wentz can just be decent, then I think the Colts can pull off an upset. I'm not going to die on that hill. I'm not going to say it's a smash play. Don't sell all of your cum rocket and put all of your earnings on this game, on the Colts to win. So yeah, that's my analysis of this game. Just quickly looking on over at total yards allowed and stuff like that. Bills are third, 83.9 rushing yards allowed per game. One of the best in the leagues. Their defense scores a lot. They score 11 fantasy points per game. They only allow 201 passing yards per game. It's 15 total points allowed per game. I mean, like I said, if you think they're legit and their strength of schedule doesn't deter you, then the Colts shouldn't do much in this game. And I don't know. I can feel a slight upset here, and we'll see. I'm a Colts fan, so maybe that's my bias seeming or coming through the edges. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you like and subscribe. I want to keep making this stuff. Please disagree with me if you think the Bills are going to smash the Colts. Comment in the comment section. I want to hear it. I'm down to argue with you and banter and go back and forth. So yeah, take it easy, guys, and good luck this weekend with your fantasy leagues.